Chris Paul will work with it. Back to Blake. The lob.
Oh, Jordan for the slam. The best lob and slam of the year.
The ball, that's a mistake.
2.6 seconds to go now. Blake Griffin will turn. Shoot a three for the win.
Foul. They go. Got the first win. They go.
The Los Angeles Clippers have a long, almost impressive history of being the NBA's biggest laughingstock. But it's not just losing on the court that has made them the laughingstock of the NBA. It's about a much darker pattern. It's a long history of betraying their biggest stars. From Blake Griffin in 2017 to now with the recent disrespect shown to the other Lob City member in Chris Paul. In what was supposed to be his farewell season, the Clippers have proven once again why they are one of the worst run franchises in not only basketball but arguably in all of pro sports. This is how the Clippers ruined the farewell season of one of their all-time legends. Imagine you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, an all-time legend, and you've just announced this is your final season, a year 21 farewell tour. Then, in the middle of a road trip 22 games into the season, at around 3 in the morning, you find out that you're being sent home. Not traded, not injured, just sent home. This isn't some hypothetical scenario. This is exactly what the Los Angeles Clippers have done to Chris Paul. On December 3rd, 2025, around 3 AM, Chris Paul dropped a simple yet shocking message on his Instagram story with text saying, "Just found out I'm being sent home." And that was it. Nothing else. No context, no explanation, just the text. The Clippers, while sitting at a pathetic 6-16 record, decided the fix to their problems was to send home one of the greatest point guards in NBA history. The move was sudden and deeply disrespectful to easily the franchise's greatest point guard in their entire history. But for anyone who's followed this team, it wasn't entirely surprising. It was just the latest chapter in the Clippers' long, ugly history of mismanagement and poor decision making. This wasn't a roster move, it was a personal attack against a legend during his farewell tour. So how did it all go so wrong so quickly? Well, to start, let's hear the Clippers' official statement from President of Basketball Operations Lawrence Frank. He said no one was blaming Chris for their underperformance and that they were grateful for his impact. But behind the scenes, a much uglier story was taking shape. Multiple reports of a complete communication breakdown between Paul and head coach Ty Lue surfaced almost immediately. Sources said the two hadn't been on regular speaking terms for weeks. Paul, famously a vocal leader, had reportedly been trying to hold everyone, including his teammates, coaches, even the front office, accountable for the team's disastrous start. Clearly, the Clippers must have found this disruptive or disrespectful. Weeks before he was dismissed, Chris Paul allegedly asked to meet with coach Ty Lue to talk about accusations that he was a quote-unquote negative presence, but Lue flat out refused to meet with him. Think about that, a head coach refusing to even speak with a 12-time All-Star who led the franchise during their most successful era. Instead of leadership, there was silence. Lawrence Frank had to fly himself out to Atlanta to deliver the news in person, but the damage was already done. This wasn't a basketball decision, it was a personal decision, driven by an unwillingness to handle a strong personality who demanded more. They didn't want to deal with a strong leader. They wanted a follower who would just sit down, shut up and listen to whatever Ty Lue and the management asked him to do. And when Chris Paul refused to quietly accept their 6-16 record, they showed him the exit door. But if this all sounds a little too familiar, it's because the Clippers have a long history with this sort of thing. To really understand how they could do this to Chris Paul, you have to rewind back to 2017 and look what they had done to Blake Blake Griffin. After Chris Paul was first traded to Houston, the Clippers decided to build around Blake Griffin. In July 2017, they rolled out the red carpet, signing him to a huge 5-year, $171 million contract and holding a massive ceremony where they pitched him as a Clipper for life. It was a promise of loyalty to the player who put them on the map. But to make things even more crazy, that promise only lasted a good 6 months before the Clippers front office had other plans for Blake Griffin. In January 2018, the Clippers shockingly traded a stunned and heartbroken Blake Griffin to the Detroit Pistons. The Clipper for life was shipped out for a package of players and picks. It was a cold, calculated business move that completely ignored the public commitment they had just made to Blake Griffin. The message was crystal clear. Loyalty is a one-way street inside the Clippers organization. They'll celebrate you, they'll pay you, and they'll tell the world you're the future cornerstone. But the moment a better deal comes along, you'll become easily disposable. The praise from owner Steve Ballmer and statements about it being a quote-unquote difficult decision didn't make the situation any better. Clippers fans felt like it was a betrayal, and it set the stage for what was to come. What happened to Chris Paul this week wasn't anything new from the Clippers. It's something that the Clippers have done many times to a number of different players. This pattern of behavior from the Clippers organization is almost unbelievable, but it's been the Clippers' identity for decades. If you're finding this history as unbelievable as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more NBA stories. The Clippers' history of broken promises doesn't stop with Blake Griffin. It's become a revolving door for veteran stars who show up with high hopes and leave under a cloud of confusion. Just look at the recent examples of John Wall and Russell Westbrook. In 2022, John Wall signed a 2-year deal, hoping to revive his career after injuries saw him depart from Washington. Wall had hopes to become the missing piece for a title contender. He played only 34 games. Before he knew it, the team was trying to trade him at the deadline. Eventually, after everything, he was bought out. He came looking for a home and was shown the exit before he could even finish unpacking and setting up shop. Then came Russell Westbrook. He joined on the buyout market and was seen as a spark plug, but things soon didn't go to plan. After being moved to the bench, reports of friction started to come up, and even though Westbrook publicly denied rumors of the fact that he wanted out, the Clippers traded him to Utah in the 2024 offseason, where he was immediately bought out. Another big name, another hometown kid brought in to help, but then was cast aside the second the fit wasn't immediately working out perfectly. Chris Paul, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, Blake Griffin. These aren't just names on a trade sheet. They're all-stars and legends treated like temporary assets or nameless role players. The Clippers have mastered the art of short-term roster filling. They lure in all-star veterans with promises of a championship and a strong role in the rotation, only to discard them at the first sign of things not going as planned. It's a cycle of mismanagement that proves in the Clippers front office their long-term vision is always sacrificed by a short-term panic. Perhaps no single move captivates the Clippers' poor management skills better than the Paul George trade. In a desperate move to land Kawhi Leonard in the 2019 free agency, the Clippers gave up their entire future for Paul George. The price? A promising young rookie named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. At the time, people called it a power move that made the Clippers instant contenders, and was a move that set them up to be title favourites for the beginning of the decade. 5 years later, and it looks like one of the most lopsided trades in NBA history. Out of that trade, the Clippers got one trip to the Western Conference Finals and a string of disappointing, injury-riddled and load-managed seasons. And what did OKC get? They got a future MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They used one of those picks to draft another star in Jalen Williams. They built a powerhouse, a potential dynasty for the next decade, with the assets hand-delivered by a Clippers front office blinded by a quick fix. While the Thunder built a championship squad, the Clippers gave away their entire future for a window that barely had an opening. They didn't just lose a trade, they donated the foundation for another team's dynasty. And here's the funny thing, the best landing spot for Chris Paul right now is clearly the Oklahoma City Thunder. They could sign him to a small, veteran deal, giving him one last real shot at the championship ring that has eluded him his entire career. He would bring veteran leadership to a young, contending team. And the ultimate irony? As the Clippers continue to collapse, their own draft pick, which is owned by OKC, will likely become a high-value lottery pick, further fueling the Thunder's dynasty. The Clippers didn't just build another team's championship roster, they might end up paying for Chris Paul's championship parade. So now we're back to Chris Paul sitting at home in December after being cast aside by the same franchise he once made relevant. His disrespectful exit isn't an isolated event. It's an exit from a culture of betrayal that has been the only consistent thing about the Clippers for decades. While their older brother, the Lakers, have continued to win and be relevant, the Clippers have continued to waste and throw away their assets and treat their stars like absolute trash. They betrayed Blake Griffin after calling him a Clipper for life. They ran through veterans like John Wall and Russell Westbrook, treating them like disposable car parts. And they handed the keys to a future dynasty only for a few years of injured superstars. The Clippers didn't just do Chris Paul dirty. They did what they always do. They disrespected a legend and they reminded the entire league why they remain a laughingstock. No matter how many stars they sign or how shiny their new arena is, the core of this franchise remains rotten. Chris Paul deserved a victory lap, a season of celebration. Instead, the Clippers gave him a bitter, disrespectful end when he should have been given a celebratory end to his legendary career. But what do you think? Do you think the Clippers are the worst ran franchise in the NBA? Should the Thunder sign Chris Paul for one last shot at glory? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns on NBA stories. Thanks for watching and goodbye.